And it's even to the point now that it needs to be talked about even more. The African American woman is being killed, Tasha, at a rate 3 times higher than any other ethnicity. So if nobody is talking about it, sisters, we need to be talking about it.
Let me ask you a question, just based on your experience. Why do you feel like that number is so much higher in the Black community?
Well, so many reasons. We're going to go cultural. My organization, Fresh Spirit Wellness for Women, I am the organization is the oldest African American founded organization in Harris County.
And 26 years.
26 years. Thank you. Celebrating 26 years. And one of the things that's made us so successful is because the founder and the CEO is an African American woman who has been in an abusive marriage and know what it's like to be a victim and a survivor. And so many times our culture, back in the day, what happens in the house stays in the house. Don't talk about that, girl. We got to push that right up on the rug. Don't talk about it.
It was taboo to talk about stuff going on.
Yeah, it was taboo. And then, like for me, many of us grew up in religious Christian homes and backgrounds. And, the Bible don't like divorce. God doesn't like divorce, but he doesn't like abuse either. There's a lot of scriptures that counteracts staying with someone and not divorcing. It's particularly when you are being in a position where you are being abused and neglected and hurt and mistreated. So, it's just for the African American woman. I think the other thing that we miss a lot of times, I happen to not grow up with domestic violence, didn't see it growing up. But a lot of times we've seen it, so it becomes norm, and you think that's just what a relationship is like. We just go through ups and downs. Mama went through ups and downs. Daddy went through ups and downs. Grandparents went through ups and downs. You throw stuff. It's okay. So that's enough. Yes, those generational curses. And then also, because a lot of times, and we don't understand that domestic violence is not just physical. If I can get everybody to get that part, I would have done my job. People think that if you're not hit, you're not being abused, and it doesn't start with hitting. And a lot of times, what people don't understand, domestic violence is an act of power and control. And that power and control can come from emotional abuse, financial abuse. I employ everybody to look at the power to change. The power to control wheel. The power to change wheel is something else that I created for Fresh Spirit. But the power to control wheel, I employ everybody to look at that, because it talks about how you are manipulated. It talks about how you're isolated. It talks about how you are, neglected, talked about, used, so many different things, gaslighted. These are huge signs of intimate partner violence and domestic violence, even before it gets physical. So if we can learn to identify those things and start making our exit plans way before it gets physical, because physical is just the next level to control you. You've already been being controlled through so many other ways, through the manipulation. And sometimes we just don't get it. We don't think we're being abused, but you can't wear your hair the way you want to wear your hair. You can't go on your girlfriend's trips. You can't be on the phone when he comes home. You can't even work, or you can work, but you can't keep your money. Ladies, that's not a healthy relationship.
And we don't, as women, we don't think about that. We cover that up with, oh, he just loves me.
Yes.
Oh, he just cares about me.
Yes.
Oh, he's just very involved in what I do. Oh, he just don't want me to be hurt.
Yes.
So we put excuses on top of what it is, opposed to calling it what it is. Because, like you say, we don't realize that it starts not just with hitting. It starts with verbal. It starts with conversation. It starts with making comments. So for you, when you reflect on your own situation, when did you see, okay, this is when I should have left, or this is the red flag that I was not paying attention to? What was that like?
Well, I always give this example. So think about that science project. Many of us had that science project where you had that toad, and so if you boil some water and you put a toad in some boiling water, it will immediately, Tasha, hop out. But if you put that toad in some cold water and then turn the stove up and let it slowly, slowly, slowly build up to a boil, that toad will stay in there and die. And that is what happens with the cases of domestic violence. If you got into a car, if someone took you out on a first date, and they came to your door, they had roses, they walked you to the car, they opened the door, they talked about how beautiful you look and you smell, and then if you got to the first stop sign and they hauled off and hit you, every woman that I know would jump out of the car. I've asked this question live when I was speaking. Yeah, I've asked the question live.
Where we going?
Yeah. How many people, I would say, how many people would jump out of the car? Everybody. But it doesn't happen like that. It's a gradual thing. And that behavior starts to change so inconspicuously that you start to wonder, okay, did something just happen at work today? Or, and
it's been happening subtly all along.
Yes. And on purpose. On purpose.
You become desensitized to it because it becomes a part of everyday behavior.
That's right. It is on purpose. Wow. People don't. Wow. Let me tell you. People think domestic violence is not about an anger problem. It's not about they had trouble at work. It's not about because they came home drunk. It's about power and control, and they have already the beginning of that wooing you and grooming you. That was because they knew they were going to cut the food.
How do they make it? Because I've heard stories and seen so many documentaries where women for a long time felt like it was their fault. Like, I made him mad, or I shouldn't have did this, and I shouldn't have done that. How do you get women to see themselves as not a part of that equation? Like, it's nothing you could have done that should have caused this reaction.
Right. You're so right. And so, that's a part of the narcissist and the abuser's way of breaking you down, and it starts, like I said, again, something as simple as I cooked you dinner, and when you bring the dinner to them, baby, it's good, but it's cold. I wish you had at least just kept it in the oven for me, so it wouldn't have been cold. So guess what? You feel, although you cooked that dinner, man, I should have kept it in the oven. You know what I'm saying? So you start finding fault in your own self, and it seems like it's logical. Like, well, yeah, I could have done that. But when someone is doing that to you constantly, it gets to the point where it's never their fault. It's always your fault. Everything is wrong. Everything is because of the way you didn't do something or did something. And a narcissist and an abuser, I tell people it's easier for an addict to change, which is a disease, and recover than it is a narcissist and an abuser, because when they learn that behavior, they also learn that attitude that they're always right and you're always wrong. And you can't fix what somebody don't admit is broken, Tasha.
I was just gonna say, on the counseling portion of that, if they never admit to their own guilt and take their own responsibility for their anger or even for their underlying trauma,
that's right.
How will that marriage survive?
That's right.
We can love each other and say, okay, let's work this out, but what does working out mean?
Exactly.
When it's once a domestic violence relationship, and now we're trying to move to a more healthy relationship, what are some of the steps that you need to take to now ensure that it is becoming healthy?
Yeah, I keep saying to women, so one of the reasons and we're going to talk about it later, but one of the reasons I'm having the Royal Empowerment Experience is because unfortunately it has saddened me that so many women don't even know what healthy relationships look like.
I was in a panel just last Wednesday, and the lady, Lisa, shout out to Lisa Williams, that was hosting the panel. That was one of the questions. How do we determine what a healthy relationship looks like? Because for me, growing up, seeing, I grew up in a single parent home, and I was around some relationships, some marital relationships, and some of them ended in divorce. I didn't see it coming. I didn't realize that that's what happened. And then I saw some of them as they grew older and they've been married 60 years, they're now sleeping in separate rooms. To me, that's not a healthy relationship.
Exactly.
So it's almost like you can't even say that this was an example of what I saw as being healthy, because 9 times out of 10, you wasn't with them 24/7. So there's probably some things that went on behind closed doors that you didn't know. So how do you even seek out determine what a healthy relationship even is?
Well, first of all, the Bible talks about the love and it being kind, and it's not it's not, we don't call each other out our names. There's a respect. There's love is gentle, love is kind, love is patient. You don't have to long suffering, but sometimes we want to take that and we want to twist that. It don't mean suffer in some chaos for a long time. That's not what that means. And so we have to. I met a couple years ago, and I'll never forget this. They had been married like 60 years. They were like 80, 78, 79, 80 years old. And I said, if you had to give me one word that you can say has kept this marriage, because I met them, they were getting a couples massage at 80, Tosha. and they were so sweet, and they were holding each other's hand and feeding each other's grapes. And I'm looking at them like, right. I'm like, yeah. So I'm looking at them like, okay. So I said, can you tell me, like, give me one word. If you had to give me one word that kept this, the way it is now, 60 years later. And they both agreed that that one word was respect. Respect. You will fall in and out of love with people. You will fall in and out of like with people. But if you're,
this afternoon, you drank my coffee, you spilled my milk,
right? But if you're able to keep a respect. She says, this man has made me so mad I can't stand him. I couldn't stand him on some days. But one thing he never did was something that caused me to lose respect for him. And so today, we listen to all this rap, and we listen to the Real Housewives, and even the women calling each other be this, be that, be that. So we have normalized being disrespected.
Oh my gosh.
We've normalized being disrespected.
Yeah.
And
so
and so when you realize, when you learn to love in respect and put yourself in the other person's place and not talk to hurt or harm or damage, but to uplift, encourage, and withhold to a higher standard, it becomes an amazing type of relationship that people can see from just see from a distance that, wow, this is genuine love.
Yeah. And what I find too is people don't understand that marriage is work. It don't just arise.
Yes.
It's like with every level, that's like even on your job, if you start off as the custodian and your ambition is to be the CEO, that takes work. You have to do some work to get to the next level, and then the next level, and you have to educate yourself on some things, and then you have to go in and you have to work, you have to compromise some things. There's some things we should always be doing in order to get to the end result of a healthy relationship. But I don't think we should base it off of what we see other people doing, because we just don't know.
That's
because
right.
Like you grew up in a house, and I know this, and I've heard and I've read about that cycle of abuse, where daughter watch mommy get abused. So when it happens, mommy still says, "Oh, daddy loves me. Daddy loves us."
Yes.
Daddy's just had a hard day. Yada yada. Mommy's giving excuses for the bruises. Oh, I failed. Oh, I did this. Oh, I did. So for little Tina, you've now normalized what love looks like.
That's right. That's right. I'm gonna have to call in. Somebody's calling me, and I am live. It was my executive assistant, and she probably thought. I apologize. That was my executive assistant calling in, probably checking to see how the interview went, and I was trying to let her know we are still live right now.
It's still going on. But yeah, so we don't realize that we've normalized what love is.
That's right.
And it's not healthy for Tina.
That's right.
And it goes the same with little Bobby. When Bobby sees you abusing mom,
that's right.
Then what you go back and reflect in love is this trauma that you saw. Now you're inflicting it on your spouse. And until you can kind of break that cycle of abuse, it's going to continue on.
That's right. That's why I tell women who sometimes want to stay for the kids. It's like, but I want them to have a two-parent household. But let me tell you, a two-parent destructive household is the worst thing you can do for your child. A dysfunctional two-parent household is the worst thing you can do for your child, because you're continuing. You can live separate, and because some people they're better apart. You know what I'm saying? And so that person
that speaks so much.
Yes.
It has so much. It's so valid.
Yeah. So that child
child
can have a healthy lifestyle watching two parents that can co-parent healthily than two parents that are screaming and hollering and throwing things at each other and disrespecting each other, calling each other out of their names. Staying out late, coming in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Again, all of the disrespect.
Before we go to a song and break, we will come back with Dr. Kunti. But one of the lines I love when my pastor says, he says, we're going from dysfunction to his function. And so I want to hear what functional and his function looks like when you stay in abusive dysfunction for so long. And so I really want to get your insight on that. But we will be right back with Dr. Kunti Terrell right after this. Stick around if you don't want to miss it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like the way you segued in that about dysfunction, because we don't realize what dysfunction looks like. We grown up in dysfunction and chaos.
So
and now
so it's normal. It becomes your normal.
Yes. And so even when you go from you get out of that relationship that was dysfunctional and you go into this new relationship, how do you make sure that is functional, that you're not now just kind of perpetuating the cycle with somebody else? Because they say you tend to attract the same type of person.
You do. And so one of the things that we do at Fresh Spirit is that it's so many different phases at Fresh Spirit. And that is, first of all, understanding what you did the first time to attract these abusive people. We have to the old you versus the you want to become. And so there's things that we do a lot of times that we didn't even realize this was what attracted that person to us. Those vulnerabilities, I always say, learn to love your vulnerabilities. Get comfortable with what's uncomfortable about you, because that person is like you. It's like they have like this machine that attracts you and them to you. Because I say sick attracts sick, and rich attract rich, healthy attract healthy. Because it is, and I hate to go into all this, and we're not on air. I'll be glad to say it again.
You gonna say it again?
But it is too much work for a unhealthy person to be with a healthy person, because it's a sick person take too much work to get you to believe it's him. And a healthy person, it's too much work for him to be with you. If you're sick, if he got to keep encouraging you, keep trying to build your self-esteem, keep trying to prove to you he's not cheating, it's too much work. So a healthy person wants a healthy person because they need to be able to live and operate in a healthy lifestyle without all that drama. But an unhealthy person needs an unhealthy person because they need somebody that esteem is low and confidence is low, so they can continue to perpetuate the drama.
Wow. So you basically, both y'all are codependent on each other.
Yes.
Wow. I need to know when your next class is. I just want to be in the room. Because it's so much this generation, and because we're outside this generation that's coming up underneath us, these 20-year-olds, these 30-year-olds, because of what the entertainment industry and social media has put out there for them, they don't even understand that what they're attracting based on what they hear is toxic.
Yes.
So it's like we really have to get it out there and just really, because we know if we grew up in traumatic households, these kids are being raised by the 15-year-old who should actually be a sister and not the mama, but actually the mama and the grandma that's 35. That's already a traumatic event. I mean, just a series of events already.
Exactly.
So now you're trying to get them to raise healthy kids, and it's just, they don't even know what healthy looks like.
Don't know what healthy looks like at all. And so, I had a client that got out of a toxic relationship, met a wonderful man, and she was going out one night with her girlfriends, a girlfriend night out. And first of all, she was, saying to me, she was afraid to, let him know she was going out. Because she was used to somebody, that's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to hang out. And so it was no problem. Sure, go hang out with your friends. Girl, have a good time. And, if we are not accustomed to healthy, that can transcend to, well, he don't care about me. He don't.
Yeah, why every time I say I'm going somewhere, you don't ever question? Why
exactly.
You don't always, you don't want to be with me?
Exactly. But that is someone who trusts you, who's allowing you to be you, who's allowing you to make choices, and who's, allowing you to be an adult. Adults can go out and hang out with their friends if they want to. And then one day she went out, the day that she did go out, when she found out, sure, wow, I can go out. She wore something and she said, I thought the shorts was going to be a little too short, but he didn't even say anything. I just knew he was going to make me take those shorts off. And I'm like, again, a healthy person, if you luck up and you bless up enough to get a healthy person, it's only so much of that they're going to take. He's not going to tell you what to put on and what not to put on to go out the door, but he is watching to see how you representing him and as his woman and as his wife.
And so it's almost like you have to, it is like you have to unlearn that unhealthy behavior.
You have to unlearn the unhealthy behaviors. That's right.
Wow. We're going to come back right after this song here, which is, what's on there? Because I can't read it. Okay. How much time we have? 2 minutes. Okay. So in about 2 minutes, we're going to come back on the air. I'm going to meet you for a second, and then we'll be back.
All right. This is good stuff, y'all. Share. Ask questions here on the chat if you'd like, and I'll be glad to share them with you live. But I am live with Chit Chat on Tosha Mack. Chit Chat with Tosha Mack on the Tosha Mack Show. Tanya said, also the church is as well, unfortunately. Yes. It's not talked about enough in the church. And then a lot of times the information is not necessarily the correct information that's given in the church on how to handle couples who are in an abusive marriage or relationship. So you're absolutely right. Share this, share this. In the meantime, Tanya, you asked me where is it going to take place? The Royal Empowerment Experience and Gala is going to take place next Friday and Saturday. We will be having workshops just like this for single women. We have Mr. Davis Burrs flying in. Oh my God, he's so amazing with empowering women on how to get that healthy relationship and love that you want. Couples as well. He has what they call the cheat code for having healthy relationships. And then also we have all male, so all women workshops, meaning single women, divorced or widow, all male workshops, meaning divorced, single, or widow, because men are finding out. I talk about all the things that they said they were missing out on too. Okay, that they're missing out on too, and then couples to be able to have these same conversations.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is your girl Tosha Mack, and I am chit-chatting with none other than Dr. Conti Terrell. And we're discussing domestic violence. Right before we went to song break, we were talking about going from a dysfunctional relationship to moving toward a functional relationship, and what are some of the hiccups that might take place. So, Dr. Terrell, what do you see in your experience, or what have you seen in your experience when women try, or men, we don't want to leave men out.
Oh, definitely not.
Such a thing as male abuse, men being in domestic violence situations, because we've already established that it's just not about physical abuse. It's also about mental, sexual, emotional abuses as well, and financial abuse. So we all know that those are other kind of domestic violence that are going on. So what does it look like, or what are some of the steps you should go through when you're leaving a dysfunctional relationship before you even start a functional one? What kind of self-reflection should you do?
Well, well, as I was saying before, first of all, leaving it, you want to make sure that you get some really professional help on how to leave something safe, because a lot of times we underestimate, because we may have not been hit, or we don't realize that it is about the control. And so women, first of all, are being killed. Like I said, African American women being killed at a rate 3 times higher, because we decide, okay, we just gonna leave. I'm tired of fussing and fighting. He not gonna keep me down. And then he decides, no, I'll control you all the way to death if it means that. So there are women who have been killed trying to leave, and never thought that would happen, because they were never hit, but they had been under such strenuous control, they didn't realize that was a part. You were about to break the control, or they were losing the control, which led to physical, even to death. So we want to make sure, if you want to leave something, that even if you feel like if you underestimate, why don't you meet with somebody, talk, find out, get some professional help on how to do so. But then, as I was saying, sick attract sick, and rich attract rich, healthy attract healthy, like mind attract like mind. So you want to do some self-awareness and self-reflection as to what is it? What was it about me that this person felt comfortable enough with me, or felt as if they could come in my life and it would be okay for me to accept these types of behaviors. So we have to learn who we are, accept who we are. I say get comfortable with your uncomfortabilities. Learn to love your vulnerabilities. If you thought you was too dark and nobody ever wanted you, learn to love that. If you thought your nose was too big, if you thought you was too fat, if you thought you was too skinny, if you thought you had alopecia and nobody's going to want you, whatever you thought about yourself that kept you feeling to the point that person could see that you were willing to take whatever that they were going to dish out. And remember, they don't dish it out quickly. They don't dish it out fast, because you would jump out. But you were so worried about your insecurities that you missed how they were playing on those insecurities. So learn to love yourself. Learn to figure out what was it that I'm missing. What was it that was empty? What was it that, because it comes to a point where we have to know our worth. We have to say, you know what? I ain't have to go through all this. I ain't have to do all this to be saved. Jesus Christ said, look, I love you just the way you are. Come just the way you are. You ain't got to do all that. And so when you start loving yourself that way, you start accepting people that love you that way.
I think one of my favorite books to read and just to reflect on is called The Four Agreements. And it's at some point in time that we agreed with some things. And it's now we're in that stages of our lives where we have to unattach ourselves to some agreements that we agreed to. We agreed to abuse being love.
Yes.
We
agree. Jealousy. Women. Jealousy is a devil. Look, if they're jealous, run. If you're jealous, you need to fix that. That's a problem. That is not healthy. And that's one of the main things that we confuse as love is when somebody is jealous. That's your number one sign that that's an abusive person and you need to run.
Listen, Dr. Country, remember growing up, and if the boy pushed you, what they told you was, oh, it's because he likes you.
It's because he likes you.
So you've already sowed that seed of abuse based on somebody liking or loving you.
Right.
Oh, he pulled your hair. It's because
he just likes you.
That's his way of showing that he likes you because he did this and because he did that. No, boo, that's abuse.
That's abuse. You better open your mouth. You better open your mouth and say, Conte, you cute, I like you.
Exactly. Use your words.
Use your words.
Not your hands.
Not your hands.
Uplift me, baby. Uplift me. Yeah, so it's a lot of things we have to now, before we go into that next relationship, we have to unlearn some patterns about our own self. And so that way you can see what you call that narcissistic behavior in others. You can see that. And when you love you for you, you're not looking for you're looking for somebody to add on to it, not to build that all the way up, because you have to do it yourself first. Because what they may do, they may use it to their advantage.
Absolutely.
And your disadvantage. And now you've gotten yourself into a situation that you don't even know how to get yourself out of. I heard you talking to your listeners about it not being a conversation enough in the church.
That's right.
Like when and I grew up in church all my life, and they done surface conversations, but it was a lot of topics that just did not. We're not being taught. We were taught to be that Proverbs 31 woman and all of these things, and how to edify our husbands and uplift them and love them and all of this stuff. But when did we teach about what a healthy marriage looks like? What needs to transpire when it starts to go from normal to abnormal? What does that look like? And what are some of the things you need to do to kind of nip that in the bud? And I was on a panel not too long ago, and one of the conversations we were having was about just making sure we have open communication when we're dating. When you start dating, ask those hard questions.
I say that all the time. We don't ask the right questions. I say that all the time. We don't ask the right questions. As someone said to me that they had started dating someone, and I said, oh, what does he do? She didn't know what he did. I said, well, does he have children? I think he has 2. You think? Was he married before? Yeah. How long was he married? Well, we didn't talk about that. Okay, but you're already in a relationship. These are the questions that help you decide if you want to be in a relationship.
If you want to continue to pursue a relationship.
So you have to ask the right questions. And then a lot of times you may not know what healthy looks like. But let me tell you, patience is the weapon that's best used for deception to reveal itself. And we're never patient enough. We just listen to those words, but we don't take time to see if those actions match up. I said, God gave us two. Yes. Be patient and wait and listen and watch. And then we as women, a lot of times we do too much too fast. Sex for sure, intimacy for sure. But even before that, you're already out buying him a gift. Y'all went on one day. You buy them a gift.
To your kids.
Bringing them home to see your kids. Bringing them to your house. You know, he can, you know, all of this stuff. You cook, you ready to cook for him on the second day. He has not earned all of those rights from you yet.
Yeah, and you don't even know enough about
You don't know enough about a person.
This is gonna be your lifer. So I can understand casually dating, and even casually dating can lead to something else. So you still should have those open lines of communication.
You have to.
And if you don't know, if you're dating out there and you've gone from one abusive relationship to, and now you're looking at going into another relationship, Dr. Conte, what are some of the questions that they need to be asking?
Well, like I said, a lot of questions need to be asked of yourself. Have you spent some time alone with you? You know, do you like you? Do you even know you? When we get out of toxic, abusive relationships, we don't know ourselves because remember, everything you've done has been wrong. Everything you've done has been your fault. So you got to learn who you are, what you like. I remember watching TV one Sunday, and I do like sports, but not to this degree. I would rush home, eat my dinner, my Sunday dinner that I cook, sit down, and I'm ready in front of the TV. And then one day I was like, why are you doing this? And you know, I don't even like it that much. But that's what I had been doing with him. I changed that to Lifetime or a movie, something I enjoy. We have to learn who we are and enjoy who we are. Stop again rushing to be with somebody, because every time my client does that, you know what? The worst thing I hate to hear is, Dr. Conte, you was right. Because every time I hear that, it's because I've told someone you're not ready to date yet. Because you haven't learned what you did to attract the other person that was abusive. You haven't unlearned, like we said, how to not do the things that you were doing. And so that same behavior, I don't care if it looks different. Oh, but he's different. He works. He's smart. He came from a good family. I don't care. You're going to attract the same thing dressed up in a different suit.
Yeah. And if you're not diving in and asking the questions about his family background, about how he grew up as a child, and just beginning to observe some of his behaviors when he's disappointed or when she's disappointed.
How do you guys argue? How does he handle when he's mad? How does he handle when you're late? How does he handle when you're sick? All of those things.
Yeah, those are some things that you just really have to hone in on. I know in relationships, things going to come up and things are going to happen that you didn't predict to happen. But at least if you have some surface knowledge or some type of knowledge of some of it, you know how to kind of navigate, or you know how they possibly will react, and you can have a counter reaction. I mean, if you know he doesn't deal with this well, then maybe you should handle it a separate, do it a little different. So it's just some behaviors that you might, if you're used to being slipped out at the mouth, that might be something because my mouth is pretty bad. Right? So it means I know I needed to change something about my mouth and how I respond, because I know I can be really
cleaning up.
Yeah, and I had to learn how to clean it up, and that's just going from one relationship to another. Like you said, there's some questions that you have to ask yourself before you go into this next relationship. And you said that there's some things you have to do when you decide to leave.
That's right.
So if Tosha is deciding to leave Leroy, I know what are some of the steps, and we know if Leroy is abusive and he's been hitting her, what does that look like? How should she prepare herself to move to safety?
Well, first of all, you never tell an abuser when you're leaving. A lot of women feel like, well, I'm not taking this no more. If you don't do this, if you don't do it, next Saturday, I'm going with mama, and I'm not coming back. You don't tell an abuser that you're leaving, because again, it's about power and control. And so then they're going to out control you and make sure that does not happen. And typically there are 3 or 4 or 5, 6 steps ahead of you anyway. And then a lot of times what we don't think about when we're leaving, If you're not coming back, you got to have your children's birth certificates. You got to have their school records. You got to have their shot records. A lot of times we've left and we haven't taken the right thing. So now you can't put your kid in school somewhere across town. So you have to turn. It comes to a point where you can decide that you're going to leave. You may know you're going to leave, but you may just not know when yet. And during that time, that's your preparation time. That's your time to find out where you're going to go that person doesn't know or can suspect. You want to make sure that your children, you have, put something in place for them to understand that they're not to tell Papa and Daddy and whatever they call Daddy where you going, because they have to understand that their lives too are in danger. So we really have to be very, very careful and know. And sometimes that safety plan is how to stay safe at home until you can leave. You know.
Wow, wow. So I know you have a website. I know you are an authoress. So how can our listeners and your viewers find more information on some safe houses?
Okay, well, there is a lot of shelters here in Houston. We have different shelters and a lot of times shelters are full. And what we try to do at Fresh Spirit, because we are not a shelter, we are a in care, in care home, in care facility that give you all the services, out care facility that gives you all the services as an in care shelter without the shelter. And so a lot of times we do have grant funding that we use as our safe house hotel stay money. And so because a lot of times the shelters are full. That's why you have to be careful when you say, well, just leave. Well, where are they going to go if there's no shelter? Are you going to take them in? So a lot of times we try to have funds to put you in a shelter into a safe hotel stay until there's a shelter available. But again, sometimes the funds aren't there. That's why we do grants. That's why we do fundraisers. That's why we're doing the Royal Empowerment Experience. It's a lot that goes into it. You may need a protective order. You may need to, you can call the police if you see this person and you have that paper and say he is not supposed to be this close to me, and he can be arrested. We cannot take it lightly. We have to be more serious. This is why we are being killed. This is why we're not taking it serious. We don't believe this person would actually kill us. We don't believe this is actually abuse, and it is. So, you really want to get with, there's a lot of professional organizations. Again, Fresh Spirit is not the only one. And if you're listening from anywhere in the country, there's the national hotline for domestic violence. And that's 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. If you're local and you want to do enrollment with us, just so we can have a conversation. You may just want to come and say, look, I just need to know, is this something I need to continue? Is this something that's going to work? He keeps doing the same thing and he says he's going to get better and he doesn't, and then he's going to get counseling and he doesn't, and next thing you know, but the same thing again, it's my fault. Sometimes nobody wants a divorce. So sometimes you need to come and listen to what it looks like, what you're going through. You're being gaslighted. This is a part of how they operate. When you start seeing what makes them do what they do and why they're doing it, then you're educated. You're up on them a little bit, like, wait a minute, I was falling for that. This is what this is. So sometimes you may need to just come and be educated and talk to someone and learn what it is that you're actually dealing with. And so
how do they reach you?
Our number is 713-300-2473. 713-300-2473. Our website is www.freshspirit.org. Freshspirit.org. All of our services are absolutely free. Absolutely free.
Wow. And so you have an event that's coming up.
Yes.
In the very near future. Tell us what are those dates and how they can get tickets and what to expect.
Okay, so you can get tickets at the Royal Empowerment Experience excuse me, the Royal Empowerment Gala.com. The Royal Empowerment Gala.com. The event is called the Royal Empowerment Experience and Gala. And the reason it's called that is because I wanted to make it an entire experience. And I wanted it to be around healthy relationships. I hear women say, oh, there's no good men out there. Yes, they are. You know why you want to give up on men? Because you keep attracting the same ones. You haven't learned how to attract a healthy man. So we want to talk about healthy relationships. So Friday night is live music, it's networking. There are going to be workshops for single women, single meaning divorced, single, and widow. Of all ages, the same for men, because men, there's some things, again, they keep attracting the wrong ones too, or they think, some of the things they haven't gotten over from the last relationship or what have you, and want to know how to be healthy as well. And then we have something for couples, whether you're a committed couple, engaged couple, or been married 1 year or 30 years. So you can have those dialogues with couples who are doing it right, couples who fight fair. We're going to talk about all of that. So that's the first hour, from 6 to 7 is the Friday night is the registration and cocktail hour and networking hour with live music with Mr. Anthony Regime. Then we'll go into our first workshop. And then the second hour, we're going to bring all the experts in on the panel, and I'm going to let them have it. And y'all going to talk to them and ask all your questions on the mic from the audience. It's just going to be such a laid back, down to earth, learning to have healthy relationships. If you got one, make it grow stronger. All of that empowerment night that night. And then Saturday, that's a casual, business casual. People will be coming from work. And then Saturday, though, that is the Royal Empowerment Gala, and the colors are purple, gold, and black. Put on your tux. Put on your long purple gown, gold gown, or black gown. Listen, we are going to have snatched, and we're going to have red carpet. We're going to have media on the red carpet. Tasha Mack is going to be one of our media personalities that's going to be interviewing you in the house on the red carpet. And you know what? We're going to have so much fun. Kyle Turner will be the entertainment for the registration and cocktail hour. Yes, you get to hear some live music during your registration and cocktail hour. VIP, those who have VIP tickets, we got something even special for you. We're just going to have so much fun. And then when we go into the gala, y'all, it's going to be an all-male fashion show featuring some of the Salt and Pepper Gang and some other guys that you got. Yes, some other guys that will just blow your mind, that are doing it right, and that are looking for women who are ready to do it right, and looking for women who are ready to have a man that want to do it right. And then after that, we're going to talk about Fresh Spirit and the lives that we've changed. We have 3 wonderful survivors that we want to share their testimony with you, and how your donations and your money and your buying tickets have, when I tell you, change and save lives, changed and saved lives. And then we will honor an all-panel, I've never done this before, an all-male honoree for the award ceremony. All-male honorees. Again, it's called the Royal Empowerment Experience and Gala, celebrating kings of queens. Yes, celebrating kings of queens. There are some kings out here. We got some queens. You deserve your king. Let's come out and celebrate. And guess what? It's all for a good cause. People don't understand or realize. They think it's a nonprofit organization that we just volunteer and do this. It costs $1 million a year to run Fresh Spirit.
Because it's not just about the organization, it's about what the organization is giving back.
Yes, it costs $1 million. We have staff. Yes, we have staff and all of that. So come and make this, a great time. You're giving back. You're going to help some wonderful person get out of a toxic relationship, and you're going to enjoy the weekend.
I cannot wait. You've been listening to Dr. Conti Terrell. I am going to drop her information also on our webpage and on my Facebook page, so that way you guys can purchase tickets to the gala. It is going to be on the 20th and the 21st. I want you guys to go over on her Facebook page. Make sure you're following her, because she's doing some amazing things in the community. And we want you guys to broaden your horizon from domestic violence just being about women and about physical. We need to come out and understand that domestic violence doesn't just start with the physical. It starts with a slew of other things and some red flags that you should look for, and just how to move through a healthy and a awesome relationship. So I can't wait. I want to thank you for coming on the show just to tell us some of your story and to tell us about Fresh Wellness as well. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to get another interview in of some of your panelists. I want you to make sure you connect me with them, because I would love for them to have a space to kind of tell their story as well. I want to thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely.
And I will see you next
Thank
week.
you for having me, and I can't wait to see you.
So welcome.
Bye bye.
So until then,
all right.
You have a good evening.
You too. All right, you all. I just finished trying to get off though. Let's see.
I'm so glad that happened just now. That was one of them.
Okay, let's see. All right, so you all share this information. Oh, how am I getting off here? I'm not getting off. Share this information. That was, again, I was on the Chit Chat with Tosha Mack show. And I'm trying to hang up, Tosha. Hang up. I ain't gonna get it to hang up. All right, thank you. I was on the Chit Chat with Tosha Mack show. Okay, Amari, I know you gotta go potty. Amari gotta go potty poo poo. That we had a long, great interview though. Again, it's gonna be a power pack night and weekend. Please come out, enjoy. I can't wait. I'm excited about it. We've got some amazing things, some great time for you. Fashion show, live music, great food, networking, all of that, honors, supporting a great cause. So I can't wait to see you share this and get your ticket at royalempowermentgala.com. All right. And if you're not in Houston, you can donate. All right. And I saw that. I saw your comment, Renee. Absolutely. We definitely will. Okay. All right. Talk to you all later. Hold one second. Okay. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.